Hi, Matt with etrailer. Today we're going to be talking about the Thule OutPace Bike Rack on the back of our 2023 Tesla Model Y. Now, the rack we have today is going to be great if you're looking for something that's super compact, but still pretty versatile, being able to carry a lot of different bikes like this e-bike we have right now. And at the very end of this video, I'll show you how compact this actually gets. But first, let's talk about how our bike is interacting with our vehicle. So even with a mountain bike back here, this is going to be well above our hatch right here. So even if you have those longer handlebars, we're not going to be making contact with anything. Now, speaking of that hatch, if you want access to it, I'm going to tilt this back. That's actually pretty easy with this. All you have to do is come over here to this rubber strap, pull on it. I like to lift up some to release it, and then it tilts back just like that. Just be careful. If you have two bikes on here, it might be a little bit tighter, but this is going to have a weight capacity of 55 pounds per bike. So those lighter e-bikes are just going to be fine back here. But this is going to be great if you need to get back here. So if I need to put any groceries up or tie my shoe, I can do that, or even grab my helmet. And when I'm done, we can close that back up and put this back into the seated position. And all that really requires is me pushing up on it until it clicks into place. Now, if we're going to take a closer look at this rack, I'm going to remove my bike. So where I'm going to start is with this strap right over here. We'll lift up on this other arm, get out of our way so we can get a better look. So we're going to have this button here. If I press down on that, that's going to release my bike. And we're going to have two of these straps. And I think that's what gives it a really good hold so our bike isn't bouncing around all over the place. And this also has a ratcheting feature to it. So if I want to tighten it down even further, I can go in the opposite direction and it even gets tighter. That's how we get this really good hold today. And then finally, we'll just move to the center at the very top. Our strap's going to be right here. So press down on that button. You'll also notice it does have a lock cord here, so it can be extra secure. Make sure no one takes your bike. This actually pivots to accommodate different styles or frames of bikes. Now, I will say we are making frame contact. So if you don't like anything touching your carbon frame bikes, then I'd recommend a different option. Thule also makes the Thule OutPace Bike Rack. That's nice because you can either make frame contact or make contact with your tire instead. And let's make sure we put everything back up. Starting with these straps. I don't like these dangling around because it just doesn't look as nice. You just push that back down. And you do have another option other than putting these straps up. You can put these cradles in the in position. To do that, all you have to do is fold them in like so. They'll grab on. Now, me personally, I don't like this for a couple reasons. One, it just barely makes contact with the back of our hatch, very lightly. But two, it's going to block more things. So I like to leave mine out like this. And we'll talk about that a little bit more after I get a few measurements. So the first measurement I'm going to get is going to be the ground clearance. So from the furthest point out, we're going to be sitting at a little bit under 24 inches, which is pretty good for this rack. If you're going up a steep incline, you're not going to be likely to make contact with anything. Even with those heavy e-bikes on the back here, we're still going to be good. Now for the total distance it sits out, this is going to be from your back bumper, about 25.5 inches, which is really compact for a two-bike carrier. Sometimes you will notice a difference, though, if you have two bikes on here. Sometimes they can clash if they're both larger mountain bikes, but they will still fit. We can save more space, though, if we fold this up. To do that, I'm just going to pull on that rubber cable again and push up this time. And make sure you have everything brought in as close as possible because this will be a fairly close fit right here. You can see maybe the only thing that would make contact is going to be these straps, but you can kind of reorient that. And that's why I don't recommend having those cradles folded in because they probably will make contact with something. But from back here, we're only going to be sitting at about 7.5 inches, and it doesn't get much more compact than this. And the other reason why I recommend having these cradles folded out is because it's not really going to block anything in the center. So our license plate and our backup camera aren't going to be blocked. Your backup camera is probably going to pick up a little bit of this, but you can still use it. If you're not comfortable with that, then you can still use your back window and your mirrors, since those aren't going to be blocked. And your taillights, they're going to sit right above these cradles here, so even that's going to be good to go. And the way it's going to install, we're going to use this anti-rattle device. This also has a lock on it to give you more security, so no one can take your rack either. This one's pretty unique because it's going to be a handle. You don't need any tools to use this. And let's say you're struggling with a spot, you can't get enough leverage, you can lift this up, put it in a different spot so you can get that extra leverage. Or just loosen that up all the way, put it back into place. And so you can see right here the amount of wiggle we're getting now. And if we go further up, you're going to notice we have an 1.25 inch shank here. And that's going to go into our 2-inch hitch receiver. The reason why that's possible is because we have this 2-inch sleeve adapter on. So it can work with your 2-inch receivers or your 1.25 inch receivers. And on the other side, we're going to have this built-in hook. I'm going to take this out to give you a better look. This is cool because you're never going to lose this. It's built in, and it works really easy for lining up that pinhole. And let's say you're really cramped for space and you need to store it somewhere like your vehicle, you can do that too. This is really compact. The way you can do that is just by folding in these cradles, just like that. And then we can fold up that shank, because that's really what takes up a lot of space, even in your garage. The way we do that is, again, just by pulling on this strap back here and pushing down on it. Feels pretty comfortable to do. That folds up just like that. And now it's like a briefcase that fits really easy in the back of your hatch. Even in your sedans, I found that this really doesn't take up any space at all. So for me, this is probably going to be one of my top choices just for most bikes out there. Now, if you have any bikes that are extra heavy, or you need to make sure you're making contact with your tire instead of the frame, again, I recommend the Thule OutPace Bike Rack. But if you need to save more space, this is going to be the way to go, since it will be more compact than the OutPace. But of course, if you guys have any other questions, let us know here at eTrailer. Again, I'm Matt, and thanks for watching.